What is up, guys? Welcome to Vintage Genetics, where it of course is about classic bodybuilding, and today will be a fun workout in a different gym with a different workout partner as well, also called Wesley. So it's two Wesleys working out, and he actually did two shows and won his class both times. So he's a serious and accomplished bodybuilder. He's actually from Belgium. This gym is in Belgium, but he did the shows in the Netherlands, and I saw him and he looked absolutely amazing. Anyway, today is a shoulder workout. I honestly stopped training legs 2 weeks before my competition, which at the time of this video is 8 days away. And the reason that I'm stopping training legs 2 weeks out is because I don't want any water to be in my legs. As remember, when you train, when you work out your muscles hard, it causes inflammation of the muscle cells, and inflammation causes water retention. And with the legs, as you're using them every single day when walking, doing cardio, it might prolong the inflammation and might prolong actually the water retention there. So my coach decided to choose the 2 week mark to stop training legs, and I think I really do need it because I have a tendency to not hold water in my upper body, but I do hold water in my lower body much easier, especially the hamstrings, for example. But anyway, guys, we started out with the side lateral raise machine as a warm-up for the side delts. Of course, every time I'm training shoulders, 9 out of 10 times I don't start out with the front delts. If you look at your own shoulders in the mirror from the side, if your back side is smaller than front, and if you look at your shoulders from the front, if the side is smaller than the front, then you should always start with either the side delts or the rear delts when you're working your shoulders. Remember, you're working the front delts every time that you train chest. And I actually did do chest the day before this workout, so especially then I don't want to focus on the front delts too much. So targeting the side delts first, really make sure that I get those capped, fully developed delts that is prominent on the bodybuilding stage. Of course, this channel is about classic bodybuilding, and most classic bodybuilders do not have big full delts, but I want to infuse a classic physique with modern characteristics to be able to stand up to the guys today. So we first did 2 side delt exercises. The second one was the wide grip upright row. The wider the grip, the more you target the side delts. And now we decided to do a nice pressing movement for the front delts. I really like to do it in a Smith machine a little more than the free weight of the military press. And the reasoning for that is because I can balance my body better, and in that way reduce the risk of injury in the front delts. Because let's face it, especially when going heavy, the slightest mistake, the slightest different angle can actually cause impingements, injuries, or worse in your front delts. So trust me, if you feel your front delts from time to time, try it in a Smith machine. You can actually get a better stretch and a superior contraction because you can actually control where you sit and the bar doesn't move anywhere except up and down. And as you guys know, Arnold is one of my examples that I look up to when I'm looking at exercise execution and body part development. And what he does is actually he arches his back a little bit, which you should always do during the military press, and actually make it a very, very slight incline. So don't put the bench all the way straight, because that actually is worse for your shoulders. Put it back just a tiny bit, as you can see right here, in order to put some stress off of your shoulder joint and more on the shoulder muscle. In my opinion, that is much safer and actually targets the muscle way better without feeling any weirdness like impingements. And as I mentioned before, when training the chest, you always hit the front delts. And in my opinion, when hitting the front delts, doing presses like this, you also hit the chest. So they are kind of intertwined when working them. You cannot really see every single body part as really an individual isolated body part, because you always work different muscles at the same time, and this is especially true with the chest and the front delts, and that is mainly the reason why I like to start with the side or the rear delts. And another reason why the Smith machine might be advantageous compared to the loose weight, the free weight of the military press, the regular barbell, is because you can actually save yourself when it gets too heavy. Of course, the free weights will always reign supreme because they also hit different little muscles, like balancing muscles that you need in your everyday life as well. It simply is a healthier movement. But if you want to go as heavy as possible and be as safe as possible, especially before a show, you might want to consider doing a safer movement like a Smith machine military press. And this, of course, is the front double raise. I like to do about 10 reps on each arm, and if you look at my front delts, you can see them contracting all the way to the top, which is exactly what you want. And you can actually see Wesley here moving his arms to the center of his body more, so not go straight forward, but actually focus on contracting the front delt by moving it to the center. So move it inwards a little bit. That way the contraction will be superior and you will feel the difference. Otherwise you might target the side delts just a little bit more. And this lighting, guys, by the way, is incredible. Sometimes some gyms don't have proper lighting, so you don't really have an idea of how you look. At home it's very difficult to see your full physique, especially with a pump. The only way to see your physique is at the gym. And right here is a gym with a very direct overhead lighting, which gives you the actual appearance of being on stage almost, which is the lighting you want to see yourself under the most optimal circumstance. So it might actually be a very large difference depending on the gym you go to on how you look. So just keep that in mind when recording yourself and you're disappointed with how you look. It could simply be the lighting in the gym itself. And I've had a lot of experience with different gyms, and in some gyms, even though you weigh lighter and have a higher body fat percentage, you look better than in a gym on a later stage in your career where the opposite is true. So always keep that in mind. But today was actually a high day of carbs, so I had a pretty good pump. Actually a medium day of carbs, but the pump was still pretty much there. As long as I keep going and don't keep the brakes for too long, the pump stays in the muscle. And as I'm going heavier, you can see my upper body swing just a little bit. This is called controlled cheating. I'm still focusing 90% on the front delts. There are of course some different muscles like my back, like my entire upper body, helping moving the weight a little bit, but those are controlled cheat reps. This is what Arnold used to do as well. Instead of using a spotter, you're basically spotting yourself to still properly contract the muscle that you want to work without actually cheating yourself entirely. And this is the reverse pec deck set number 1. And I really love this particular machine. It has two different handles, a hammer handle and a horizontal handle, and I chose the hammer handle because it really enhances the contraction of the rear delt. If you look at it, you can see that individual little muscle on the back of my shoulders contracting, and if you look at my traps, you can see they are uneven. I wanted to talk to you guys about that because I had no idea, and this happens on multiple back exercises for me. For example, the lat pull down, the pull down bar actually doesn't go straight down, and for my, how it feels, it does go straight down. And a lot of people actually have this problem where there's a disbalance in muscle strength, causing the movement to not be absolutely straight or correct, but you cannot actually feel it because for yourself, without perspective from the outside, it looks like you're doing the right thing. So right here I notice that my left trap is a little higher than the right one, even though it feels exactly exactly the same. So next time I will for sure take that into account and try to change my positioning on a machine like this. And that is one reason why recording yourself from time to time is important. First of all, to check your form, but second of all, to check imbalances like this. And then the second exercise, one of my favorites as well, reverse dumbbell fly. One that you have to do very specifically, because if you don't, your traps will do most of the work. You can see my traps moving, but then when you look at my rear delts, they are doing most of the work. That is why you shouldn't go too heavy. I'm only doing 7.5 kilograms each dumbbell. And the reasoning for that is otherwise, my traps, which is a much stronger muscle, would actually do the bulk of the work, and it will prevent my rear delts from getting too much tension put upon them, and they won't grow as much. So if you have underdeveloped rear delts, make sure to pick a lighter weight and a higher volume to get blood rushing into that muscle, expanding it and making it grow. And we are ending this deltoid shoulder workout with some barbell shrugs. One of my favorite exercises for the traps. Actually, the only exercise that I specifically do for the traps. You can do this two ways. You just saw my way, and this is Wesley's way, the other Wesley of course, and he actually squeezes his traps, and this is more for the trap thickness, for the upper back thickness. This makes the exercise a little more difficult because you gotta lean forward a little bit, otherwise the bar would bump against your body and you wouldn't be able to squeeze your traps back. But I do it the way to actually enhance the traps upwards. And you know, there's two ways of doing it. Like I said, I can do it a little heavier doing it this way, and that's why I like it, because I really like to stretch the traps as much as possible. That is something a lot of people forget. They go up and down way too fast, using momentum, neglecting the full contraction and neglecting the full stretch, causing the traps to be underdeveloped. And my traps are pretty developed. The thickness can improve a little bit, but I'm doing that actually with a lot of rowing movements, which have already improved my back thickness by a lot. Anyway guys, if you want to follow Wesley, check out my description box. His Instagram is in there. This gym called Fit Out Sports and Health Center is located in Belgium, so if you're nearby, you will see, if you train in this gym, that there will be vintage genetics clothing in the gym being sold. So that will be an amazing collaboration for sure. I want to thank you for watching, and don't forget to stay golden.